Hello and God bless you. This is MOngan, and today is time to go tell the world. What are we going to tell the world? We're going to tell the world that joy to the world. The Lord has come. Let earth receive her King. You know what that means? That means your heart is wide open. And when Jesus comes to knock at the door of your heart, you open it wide. You never say no at the end. So today we have two wonderful Christian Catholic youth ministers, but also more than that, authors and radio stars. They have their own bio, and it will be we put the bios on the tape when they start from now in the new year. We'll have the pictures of the bio under it. You can locate your favorite co-host of our many co-hosts. There's 12 for Go Tell the World. So Katie, French, and Alan, hello, take it away. I never can say the last name. I really can't. I try, but I go Alan. I remember there's Alan as well. So how do you say your last name?
Migliorato. Alan Migliorato.
See, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
Mine is easy.
Mine's
easy for me.
harder. Mine's French.
Yeah, I think bonjour. I know yours in both languages. So Alan and Kate, you have some new things on your horizon. Since we last saw you, you're really a frequent flyer on Bob's show. I call it Bob's show, but it's really not. It's Divine Mercy Radio, right? I'll tell a little about that first.
About our radio show?
What's it called? How do I get it? Because I see it and I push the button and it doesn't know because I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, so if you go to adventurecatholic.com and then click on our podcast, it'll go there to the Divine Mercy Radio's channel, and you can listen live to us. And we're live every second Saturday.
Friday.
My gosh, every second Friday. That's why nobody hears us. No, we're live every second Friday of the month, and
At what time?
At 11 a.m. And then the previous recorded ones are still on the webpage too, so you can hear those. You can't really see them. You can click a button and watch the button if you want the whole time, but you can hear all of our previous podcasts on that channel.
There are 12 good ones.
Yeah, they're great. No, we're having a great time. We're getting a lot of people that are asking questions about our podcast, so that's really a plus.
When you work for God and then you work with the youth, God sets your heart on fire to be creatively, call them to Jesus. That's what they do. They have a creative ministry. They're just not your ordinary youth ministers. So you also have something new coming out, and we want people to look at this and think about buying it for Christmas, because I'm like this. It's going to be a gift you won't forget. So tell us about your new book. And I'm very excited. I love books. I was never a reader, Katie. I was never a child that read because I was so busy doing in high school and stuff in college. I was not a reader. So now I just love books. The Lost Sheep. So what is it about?
So it's the amazing adventures of Bunny and Bear, and it's the Lost Sheep. So Bunny and Bear are good friends, and they learn about God together. And the sheep at the beginning, I'm not going to spoil the whole book.
That's
the
right.
Sheep lost their shepherd, and they need help finding the shepherd back. And it's based off of Psalm 23, and in the Bunny and Bear and the sheep walk together through in the green pastures and the still waters. And they're looking at the valley of the shadow of death, and they're looking at all of it. And should I spoil the end?
Yeah, it's Jesus. They find Jesus. We ruined it.
I was going to guess
you have to get the book. We just saved you some money, but it's still worth getting. It really is good. Yeah.
The illustrations are great. Alan drew all of them.
I drew them.
And I told him when it looked bad or not. But we did the words together. I mean, really, King David did the words, but
yeah, King David wrote this, but we rewrote it, and I think it's worth a listen. And our whole goal, Ellen, with doing this was we work with a lot of teens and we work with a lot of middle schoolers and even young adults and parents. But we're really our goal of Adventure Catholic, was to find a way to keep our youth actively engaged as intentional disciples with our church. And we can only do that if we start speaking to our kids, not just about the faith, but sharing our faith with our kids. And even the readings of today, where Samson, is consecrated by his mother to God when she has a visit from an angel, and even John the Baptist leaping in the womb, when Jesus approaches with Mary in her womb. So that's when God wants to talk to us about our kids. We need to talk to our kids at the same time. I remember reading books to my wife's stomach when she was pregnant, just so I could hear my voice, but what a great story, The Adventures of Bunny and Bear. And we call it Bunny and Bear because Katie is obviously the bear. No, she's the bunny. And all the kids look at me and laugh. They're like, oh, you're a bear. And she's the bunny. She's always hopping around and you're sitting there all grumpy. And I'm like, grumpy? I'm like, man, I just want some honey. Just leave me alone.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we came up with it. This is actually, I'm gonna let you talk for a minute
Sure.
in a minute. But this is actually the first in a series of books that we're doing with Bunny and Bear.
Oh,
And this is
good.
called The Lost Sheep. We already have another one written, but we haven't finalized and polished it yet. And that one's called Berry Hungry, where Bear is like berry hungry, and he's walking through the forest, and he doesn't want to go to any other bush to get berries except the one that he's looking at. And Bunny calms him down and walks him to another berry bush. And along the way, she's like, it's so hard to be angry when you're looking at the beauty of God's nature. And he's like, well, what do you mean? So Bunny goes and tells him about the breeze through the trees and the hills in the background and the water, and it's beautiful. But Bunny and Bear, The Amazing Adventures of Bunny and Bear, this one is about the lost sheep.
Okay. I so like it. I like a series anyways. I think I'm partly Amelia Bedelia. I always call myself Amelia Bedelia because I don't always get it. And I think the world just, it's advancing so much. We have to speak their language. We have to speak the language of the youth. And so what age group is this for? And then where can they get the book?
I feel like it would be catered to either 3 years old or kindergarten through about third grade, second grade, maybe.
Maybe up to fourth.
So,
these kids like the pictures because they're really cute.
so I'm sure I work with
Show
kids,
us one
the younger
page.
kids all the
Show us one page so I can see the picture. I want to see one page because he drew the pictures. I have to always pay for illustrations, but I think it's great. And then who did you use? Who did you publish with, Sophia, again?
We self-published right now. Children's books are more expensive to
So
make,
expensive.
So here's the
very cool,
first.
very cool. Look at y'all. Look at the illustrations.
Yeah.
Wow. When I wrote a children's book, my granddaughter wrote it with me, and she said the illustrations tell the story as well. So very, very cool. You're very good. And
read it now. Don't copy it. You got to get the book.
No, I'm going to take a picture right now. I'm closing my eyes. No, it's great. I believe this, Alan and Katie, and you all probably do too, especially being parents. When you're reading the story to your children, there's so many beautiful pictures, guys. I didn't want to see all of it. Sneak preview. But when you're reading a story to your children, I used to call my book series Life Lessons because you're learning the lesson as they do. And God will use that in a parent's life as they read the children to teach that same lesson to them. So I think that's great. So you self-publish, so is it on Amazon or they have to get it through you? Or
if you go to adventurecatholic.com and you click on our books tab, it's right there for pre-order. We have about how many?
We have about 20 of them left right now until Christmas. I can probably still get some out if people are hearing this before Christmas, but I know we're not live. So if you're hearing it after Christmas, it's not going to take us but maybe a few weeks to get them out to you. And we're doing another order in mid-January, so we'll have them to send out. They'll get out within a couple of days once you order them.
Yeah, and I think it's great that you're doing this because this is what people need. They don't need to be doing there was this called.
Sure.
They need to be doing this, this just sitting here with, the youth and the parents are all doing this. They need to be reading and teaching the children, making fun activities with them and making memories. It's getting to be the Christmas season. And if you don't have the time, mom and dad, to spend time making memories with them, someone else will. Well, maybe a peer group that you don't really want them hanging with. But if you want to make memories that'll last a lifetime, especially around Christmas, do some with your youth. We do all kinds of Christmas traditions, guys. And we're going to come back to the book and the radio, but I'm just interested in what kind of Christmas traditions do you do in your homes. Remember, because what brings people back to the church is the Eucharist. They miss the Mass and the High Mass at Christmas Eve. And what brings people back to the home is baking those cookies together and wrapping the gifts and doing the cards. So what do you all do? Katie's first, right? Tell what you do at your home that you've done that your family did for Christmas tradition that you liked. Did you like all of them?
I did. My mom and dad we were very centered around our siblings. I have 3 siblings and we're very, very close. And one of my favorite traditions is, I know it's silly because I still do it in my 20s and 30s, but we all have a sleepover. We all have a sleepover in the same room Christmas Eve night. And we did it as kids because we were waiting for Santa and we're trying to listen to him on the roof. But as we all started going to college, we're like, so we're still sleeping in the same room, right? We're like, yeah.
We're still listening for Santa.
I don't know how it's gonna work when we have kids, but yes, yeah, we can't say Santa. Yeah, Santa's real.
And even though they don't live in the same house, they still go back to that house and sleep there at night.
I think it's cool.
No, they don't.
I know a girlfriend, well, she passed away and she was the head of a glow one of the only Catholic Glows that was a president of the Glow down here in Augusta area. And she passed away, Ina Dean, but they always hosted a sleepover for the women during the day, you know, and I never went. I was never a fan of sleepover than my age group. It was a bad experience for me with there were TPing houses, and I was going like, I think that's against the law. So I only went one time, but when it's usually your siblings you can trust. I'm always going for a beach trip with my daughters, but they haven't said yes yet. They have too busy a life right now with their own little ones. But you know, traditions are important. What does your wife do, Alan? Because I'm sure your wife is the orchestrator of the fun, you know, because wives do that. They make traditions. It's not Fiddler on the
We
Roof.
do well, growing up, I'm Italian, so we try to do the Feast of the Seven Fish, you know, but that's just such a hard thing to do because I was only child growing up, and you know, it's a lot of cooking and a lot of preparing. We make cookies which is my favorite thing to do with the family. And as my kids were little, I would have all their friends over, and like they make cookies and make their own, you know, their own little favorite cookies and everything like that. And that was always a cute tradition. And now, like, we'll go to mass. Obviously, that's a great Catholic tradition that we go to mass together. We go to mass all the time together, so that's always great. And then go out to dinner somewhere or try to come home and cook on Christmas Day. We always eat at home. We'll make something at home.
And we have so many traditions. Some, when you get older, you know, your kids go their merry way. And I always encourage this. I know you don't have any married daughters yet, do you, Alan, or you do? No married, you're young.
My oldest daughter is married. My oldest
Okay.
daughter is actually Katie's age, and
Well, there you
she's
go.
married.
Yeah, because when you have married daughters, I really feel like you need to give them the freedom to make their own traditions. And if for a parent that's empty nest, and we've been an empty nester for a while, although people always are living with us, so we have 2 people living with us now, but we're empty nest anyways. And they come back sometimes to home on Christmas and Christmas Eve, and someday they have to go to the in-laws, and that it's an adjustment for parents. So all the children out there that have 2 sets of parents, you know, we love that, but make sure you remember to remember your parents to come and visit on the holidays. There's time, and you know, we're filling our thing today too. Mine is like a little bit. Pat sets me up on his IT. If you get Pat wanted to be here today, he's actually we've had a big week, and he just recovered from taking care of my mom. When you have an elderly person, 97, and you take care of them when they're sick, that's a biggie. And because he's the physician, he really kept her alive. I want to give him. He's my hero because she's 4 times. She almost, you know, died. He just tends to her in that way. She doesn't have anything serious, but at the time we all came down with either COVID or the flu or something, and we took turns, so it was staggered. So we're well now, and Merry Christmas to all those who are listening. This is Go Tell the World, and it's Ellen Mongan hosting, but my co-hosts are Alan and Katie, and welcome. You say that in French, Katie? You say French words?
That's just her last name.
I love
French.
I know, but I still play the kidder. So my traditions in the home were many, and really the kids we're hosting at my daughter Cherry's house a cookie baking party. It's creative when you have this many children to get a date that works. The 23rd. My son Tyler he's married to a Japanese girl, and he comes back in town tomorrow at 9:30 in the morning. That's the other reason probably Pat's resting. So we haven't seen him for a few months since July. That's the part of that you raise them up and then you send them out. And I think it's so important to be able to like, you know they love you, and then they're formed, and they're making the world a better place as well. So what else do you want to share about either the radio show or the books, or what's coming up for y'all, and what you're doing with your youth, and for how do you prepare their hearts for Christmas? How do you get them to be on fire for Advent and Christmas?
I don't know if you saw on our Instagram or Facebook page, but we just came back from Maryland, where we were at the Monsignor O'Dwyer Retreat House in Sparks, Maryland, and we were training their staff on how to use our COPEC method, which is to challenge, observe, process, evaluate, and challenge again. Right, in failing forward. Oh, you're so sweet. You always have the book handy.
Buy the
make
book
a pocket
also.
size for you.
No, this is important.
We train.
Adults can learn from this. Do you think, Alan, adults can learn as well? So the COPE method is, one more time.
Challenge.
Observe.
Process.
Evaluate. Challenge again.
Right. Oh my gosh. What
a
nerd.
If you'd like them to come to your town and teach you the method, starting with the youth ministers, they will be glad to do that. Yes, so they were receiving, they were receptive towards.
So we're in the process of training other people in this method, but we went up and did a retreat for them and showed them how this works. And so we had it was a smaller team. It was like 14 teenagers, but we also had their staff there, and it was great. They had us come up. They're awesome people. If you're looking for a place to go on a retreat, they have an
Awesome.
outdoor a high ropes course and a low ropes course and 3 different zip lines. They're just
Wow.
really amazing people and
Down to
very,
earth, very good Catholic people.
yeah,
I loved them. They're awesome.
yeah, they're very focused on Christ and doing Christ's mission there with the youth and trying to figure out ways, which is why they had us come up there, trying to figure out innovative ways to incorporate not just a retreat, but an experience. And when we were there, we were talking to them about, kids go to a retreat, they get informed, but if you go to have an experience, you get transformed. And that's really what our goal is to transform our youth to not of this world, but they have to live in this world. And so I think it was a very powerful weekend.
And they're open to going to other churches and other youth ministries, right? You're open to go tell the world wherever you go, right? So
Oh, for
I
sure.
think we'll
Yeah,
tell
of
how to
course.
contact y'all, but that's marvelous. I think you're right about the experience and the transformation that happens. Even I was at the Harrison today, so it's my day, and I go here to my Dee Dee. I told her to say that. I just do
Me
for her.
too. But yours looks
Very
better than mine. I think.
okay, see, we all agree. But I was telling the lady that she introduced me to it, sitting down the hairdresser. We were talking, we're near the same age, and how I like to meet people because you learn something for everybody, and everyone learns something from you, and the experience, even just in meeting someone new, it gets you on fire. And I love when I meet people around the world and around the country to talk with them about the Lord and seeing what they're doing, and it's very important. Networking is where it's at, and that's why people, because of COVID and we were in our homes, Zoom just went, it was something that we can learn from people on podcasts. So you have to check out all that Katie and Alan are doing. They're going to share some more and tell us a little more about what they do with the youth that are, say, the downhearted. We talked yesterday, Andy Sass and Bill Schneider, and Pat and I talked about some people aren't excited about Christmas. First of all, some don't have a faith, right? Others are depressed. Maybe their spouse died, or maybe they're lost their job, or maybe they're just like downhearted in their personality to begin with. So it's not as we think, oh, joy to the world, the Lord has come, let earth receive her king. But they're thinking, oh, it's Christmas, can it cost me a lot of money? So how do you get the people excited about Christmas, the parents as well as the children?
I think we get into that spout of oh, it's Christmas, it's one day, it's all the presents and this, that, and the other. I think we all fall victim to that. What I've learned with the kids and myself this year, we're doing my aftercare kids, they're doing an Advent devotional, which
Nice.
you wouldn't I've never done an Advent devotional in my life, if I'm being honest. And this year
Okay.
I was like, I really want to do it. And I found one that's connected with a kids one. And believe it or not, it's Psalm 23, which I was like, okay, that's a God coincidence. Here we go. We're wrapping it up. And because no one really, I don't feel like anyone really gets into Advent. And I think they put all the focus on just one Christmas day. But Advent really gets me in the season of, we're waiting, we're so excited to see Jesus. Then it really is a celebration, because if you're just the instant gratification of a day, there's no waiting, there's no excitement, it's just so much weight on one day. And Advent's really kind of made me pause, and we're doing these really, it's so sweet. They're little devotionals. They have like a picture for Visio Divina, they have Alexio Divina to do, and it's K through 8 I have, so I cater it to each group, right?
Oh.
Sometimes the kindergartners are just coloring, which works for them. But it really gets them in that spirit of, all right, like we're getting ready. It's not just about red and green and cookies. It's our savior. Like, who is our savior and who are we waiting for? And so I sent it home with them, and I hope they're doing something. If not, they're fine.
No, but it's just the fact of taking the time with them. I'm sorry. I used to think that, it's all in what you say, but really it's in who you are when you get with, people. I always pray a lot about people that receive my books. And sometimes years later, someone will tell me they found my book, or they just finally looked at it after I gave it to them 10 years ago. And it's all about who you are, that they come to you. I know that the Lord sends people out there that have Jesus in their heart to draw souls, so that then we have a crisis. Now we all know that there's never a good time for a crisis, but a crisis comes, and right who to call. But as we're saying this show right now, the audience could think of someone who would I call if something bad happens? My kids would call us, because Pat's a doctor and I'm a prayer, and Pat's a prayer. And I think I'm like his nurse, but I'm not a nurse at all. But I'm saying, you know who to call, and that's why you do what you do, Katie. This one child in that class could be like, oh, that teacher that used to teach me, Katie, because and they'll say, bonjour, Katie. But they will call, and you don't know what you're touching, even with as a writer, because I've been doing Catholic Mom many years. And I always say that you never know where your words are going out to. And the words are so important too, but especially when you don't know that some people are reading your material. So Alan, how about you? What do you think about for Advent preparation at your home or in your class?
Yeah.
In your home, Alan.
I love
love
the
Advent.
entire season of Advent and Christmas. Growing up, I would just call it Christmas season. It wasn't like we didn't have growing up, I didn't have an Advent wreath. The kids would kind of make them at school when they brought them home, but like I never had one that did that growing up. So really, like I start feeling Christmas about July, and then again, and then it usually ends in June. So like all year long, I love Christmas. It's my favorite time of year. I just love the season. I love the way that people are usually a little bit friendly to one another. Although I can tell you that I've experienced lately people that have, it seems like a higher stress level, and it really is kind of telltale of what the world is like today in a lot of ways. So we got to remember to just kind of slow down when we get to that point, and remember that this is a joyous time and a time of anticipation, waiting and being excited. And so, just maybe if let somebody in traffic in front of you, or let somebody go in front of you in the grocery store, or let them have the last box of cereal or milk that you're looking for. It's not the end of the world, but it could be the beginning of a new eye-opening experience for somebody else. Like we want to share Christ with the world, not just in our books, not just in the things that we say, but in our actions with everyone around us. People should know that we're Catholic, not just because we have, a rosary, but because of the way that we treat them. And so I think that's super important. Well, I know that's super important, but we forget it sometimes. And everybody's human. And the other part is to forgive, right? We want to forgive like we want to be forgiven once we get to heaven. So just think of that usually scares me. Like, am I forgiving everybody as quickly as I want to be forgiven? And if I'm not, then I got a long wait ahead of me. So I try to get that off my chest and move on.
One gal scared me. It's Brother Patrick and mine, Deacon Pat McCardle and Don from there used to be in our diocese there now in South Carolina, Charleston diocese. But she said that scripture about, you're accountable for every word that comes out of your mouth. Well, I talk really fast, say a lot of words, and I go, whoa, it could scare you. But you know what? God is a forgiving God. He's a merciful God. So it's been a long time that you haven't come to the confession line. Father Ingram, for one, is inviting people. I know Father Jake as well. Go to the confession line. I love what Father said this week. He said he's never seen someone come happy into confession, and he's never seen someone leave without a smile on their face. And I thought that was good, except for I do love confession. So I do come not like
the smile.
I am, right? Do you come for it? I come because I go, I need the grace. But go ahead, Katie.
My old pastor would tease me about how happy I was to go to confession. I would go in, do you have a second? And I'd be walking out and he'd go, let the door hit you on the way out. You gotta calm down. Like just teasing back.
Because we understand the graces. Even if I'm having trouble with when I was younger, my children or my husband or my mother, I say, you know what? I ran out of grace. I need to go to confession. We don't have it on our own. That's the truth of the gospel is we can do nothing apart from him. And we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. We know that for a fact. And so when you understand that the word of God is true, and then every word in the word of God is true, and you go, the whole thing is true, then you don't have to worry. You go to confession because you need the grace. It's like going to your daddy when you're little and you say, Daddy, I broke the window. I hit the baseball through the window. And then he says, that's okay. We're going to take care of this. And he teaches you how to repent, teaches you how to come to him. What if we don't come to him, we sin? What are we going to do? We're going to hide. He's everywhere. Did you ever have your feeling, Alan, you were afraid? As Catholic school girl, we thought confession was like, I did this one time, I did that one time, and it was exhausting. So what do you think about confession?
Well, I know like breaking a window with my father would have sounded very different. Are you kidding me? We just fixed that window, which I'll tell you something, like I need that in confession sometimes. And sometimes I'll go to I go to usually the same priest, or if I'm in the same area, and I'll just go, hey, last time, just ditto. the same. I did the same stuff.
Exactly.
Probably the same at the same time of day. I probably did the same stuff in traffic. I said the same word that I shouldn't have said. Yeah, I'm so sorry about that. And he's like, well, he goes, at least you're in a pattern and you know how to get out of that pattern. So it's one of those things where we hear what we need to hear in confession. And sometimes it's the father that says, that's enough, hitting the ball toward the house. And sometimes we have the father that says, it's not a big deal. It's just a piece of glass, but try to do better. And we need to hear both of those messages. So
That's right.
love confession. I love going. As a matter of fact, we are missing right now our diocese wide
Okay,
our
sorry.
penance service for Advent.
Is that my
No,
sin or yours?
listen, no, that's no one's sin because we can go on Saturday, and so
Okay.
it's not a problem. It's just a matter of like we usually bring all the teens, and I usually
Sure.
bribe them with Jeremiah's ice cream. So like if they come, we're going to get this Italian ice down the street, and like so we had like 20 something or 30 something a few years back, but
Yeah.
we haven't had that many in a while. So we're building back up, just to go to confession. No one likes to say what they did, admit that they were wrong, and hope that God's going to forgive them because we treat God like someone instead of the one. We just say, hey, no one's going to forgive me for that, and no one probably will. But that's where God is beautiful.
Sometimes it takes a time. You go to the confession of the same sin and you have to confess it, and God's tendering your heart more and more and teach you along the way. It's not like, oh, I sinned and oh well, I did it again. You go in and your heart's tender to him, and you want to do better. I've had a situation where I thought I could love everybody. I just thought, oh, I can love everybody. I like a lot of people well, and I know a lot of people, and then I came across this person. I couldn't really love the person, and I thought to myself. So recently, I went to confession for a sin similar to that. And I prayed that I would get a priest that wasn't in the little room where everyone could see you while you're going to confession, because there was one glass room. I guess it was a trying room. And then I got that priest, the one with, there I was. And I always cry, and I don't mean to cry in confession, but you start to share something and it's deep in your soul, especially as repeated. And I just cry, even though I walk with a smile, I start to cry. And the priest, I told him and I asked him his advice. What do I do? And then the guy, I didn't know there's a language barrier or what. And I sat there and I go, wait a minute. I prayed that I get not be in the cry room and I get the priest that knew the wisdom to tell me, because I need wisdom when I go to confession. I'm going to go like, and I forgive you. Tell me now, what do I do differently? Because this is really hard. And I said, I know you have the wisdom because I got you. And he goes, in due time. Now that may sound really small to someone else, but it was so panned out to be that sometimes we try our best, just like riding a bike and we fall off, riding a bike, we fall off. And then one day we don't need the training wheels. And we're like, we can never go like this. Oh, that was a piece of cake. I just love everyone. Because it's not true then. Because we've already gone through that season where he said, you thought you could love everybody. Well, look at this. Or you thought your career was going to boost off. Not that I had my career ever boost off. This is my career serving the Lord with gladness. But you thought it was, and then you failed at making the sale or whatever it is. No, that's when you really know that Jesus is Lord, and he forgives your sins, and he has mercy no matter how many times you do it, and now how many times you mean not to, and then you did it again. I'm sorry, I don't know why we're talking about confession, but you know what? What a great message tonight is. This is all about the world.
Since we're talking about confession, and we are like sheep.
Oh gosh,
we're very much like sheep. Right? We're referred to as sheep in the Bible like 500 times, and that's because we have the same qualities, right? We have no protection without the shepherd. We don't have any defense mechanism without God, and we're pretty stupid, like sheep are at times, and that's okay because God refers to us as that, so he knows who we are, and he does love us. So I think that's one of the reasons that Psalm 23 is my favorite, and that's why we focus the book on the first one on Psalm 23, because really it shows provision, protection, and promise of the shepherd, and that's a beautiful thing when you know that there's nothing that I ever am going to want that God's not going to provide. He's going to give me everything I need. He's going to lead me through the hard times, and he's going to let me live with him and dwell in his house forever. It doesn't get any better than that.
And I think people are scared of that confession because everyone else around them is imperfect in their way of forgiving, right? They try their hardest. There's so much more human imperfections that go along with it. And that's why I think kids need to hear that message, right? That the Father perfectly forgives them and they perfectly forgive them for who they are. Like Jesus knows exactly who they are. That's why his arms are completely open, going, all right, let's go. Bring it in. Here we go. And that's why we kind of got to Psalm 23 with the kiddos, because we cater to the middle school, we cater to the high school. They need to hear it at such a young age, and they're craving it. Look at how they treat their parents. They're always hanging on their parents, or they want they're always hanging on me. I can't get them off of me. It goes, but they're craving that forgiveness and that unconditional perfect love. And confessions just for that, you know.
Think about the lost sheep, like the first book that we're writing with the Amazing Adventures of Bunny and Bear. The lost sheep, we don't know why he's lost. Is he lost because he's ashamed and he didn't want to be seen? Is he lost because he just wandered, gradually off during a long journey? Is he lost because, he thought he could be fed better somewhere else and ended up not being fed better somewhere else? So he's sad that he's lost. And that's how we are. We are sad that we're lost. So really, our book does have quite a lot to do with reconciliation. It does. It's the shepherd come running for the sheep in the end of the book, and like he just hugs him and holds him.
So
You
nice.
just have to go after him.
Yeah, I want to say this. I think people think that Psalm 23 is only the death psalm. That's some reason they go, oh, am I going to die? No, it's so much more. Whenever I have to go to a scripture in the middle of the night, Psalm 23 spread a lot of people's deaths. It's a death itself, but I actually cling to that scripture in the middle of the night when I'm praying. If I feel like, where are you, God? So you get into prayer, you have to sleep, you wake up, and I start saying, the Lord is my shepherd. It only means so much to me, is because each word I've meditated on. And the one I'm meditating the most is when women get really tired, or men, I say, you need to take a retreat. You need to go away, like they went on a retreat and went away with the children, because he makes me lie down in green pastures. And that's the way he restores your soul. So you can't restore your soul as you're busy doing. You can have a prayer time, but he actually restores your soul in rest. And it's so important that there's so many retreat centers around the country, because we need that quiet to hear him. Had I go away the month of January, I probably said, and we're going away really to retreat, because we live with my son. Joshua lives here. He's a big help with my mom, and he came in from Hawaii when COVID hit, and he had his restaurants closed down. Now he does a golf course. He works at a golf course now. But it's and my mom lives here, so to have a quiet time, or just time to just go to mass and adoration, just think, is not impossible, but it's something I, as a contemplative, like. So that's why I say that's my favorite part of Psalm 23. Do y'all have a favorite scripture in there in Psalm 23? Like one of the lines?
You don't have one?
I do. You go
No,
first.
you go first.
You go first.
You don't have one, do you?
I do have one.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't. Can't think of one.
I do.
I love, honestly, I love all of them, but I think probably your rod and your staff, they comfort me, just because and I'll tell you why. Because obviously you use the staff and the rod are two different tools. One is to defend you, one is to guide you, and I need both. I need both of those things at all times. But everything points back to the very first verse, which is, Lord is my shepherd, there's nothing I shall want. Because he'll guide me and protect me, there's nothing I shall want. And there's nothing I shall want because the Lord is my shepherd. So it really is one big prayer, and it covers everything.
You want me to share mine?
Please.
Mine is, he leads me beside still waters, because I always imagine just Jesus and me walking, and I see the still water, because I'm not a very still person. I'm always and he's not just, it's not just in front of me. He's not taking me to it. He's letting me see it right beforehand. Look at how still the water is. And as soon as he leads me to it, I'm like, okay, I'm ready for the still waters. Because it makes me feel like he meets me where I'm at, where he's like, just look at it. We're still walking, but just look at it. I'm like, huh?
Yeah, that's
I feel like you would lead me there and kind of shove me in.
That's why I try to get back to Florida. The ocean makes. Oh, so sorry, Alan. Go ahead. Go ahead. I did something.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. We're listening to you. I'm just babbling.
I try to. Your water and behind you is the ocean. It's my favorite thing. It's the only time I am still is at the ocean. I do not swim. I do not. I do not do anything ocean, but just sit there and write and listen to. So Pat, being my husband, the brilliant doctor man, he bought me this little sound machine at night, and it goes like this. I always go, it's not the same thing, baby. I don't rest like you do in front of the TV. You know, he's a TV, men like to watch TV and sports and stuff at night. And me, I just only do rest at the ocean. It really is really, or if I'm on retreat at mass, I can stay all day in a church. That when you're definitely that's the best part. So the ocean you have up right up there. I'll use this on against him and say, by the way, honey, how about the ocean? We'll see you in the ocean soon. So I was going to say one more thing that I'm not, we have still some more time if y'all want to go to another subject, but I think confession, especially with the youth listening, that the way we approach confession, I think some may be thinking to themselves, I haven't been for a long time. I need to go. Invite a friend. I mean, a lot of people go as couples to confession. Pat and I do that sometimes, and we are fortunate enough to have confession before every mass at our church we're at right now for daily mass. So that's kind of neat. And there really is many opportunities to go, and it's a very important sacrament. I like all the sacraments, but that's one I really do treasure. So what do you all want to pop in and talk about now? We can repeat, or we have like about 10 more minutes and we'll do closing thoughts.
I think you've inspired our next book, Psalm 23. It's not just for funerals and the dead people. So like, I think that's going to be maybe the title of a new book that we come out with. Psalm 23, it's for the living.
That's right.
For those who want to be alive.
Yeah.
That's right. It makes you, everything in life that makes you feel dead. Sometimes God's sometimes he takes away the grace and all of a sudden you go, Jesus, find me, forgive me, and take me back. When you're used to walking in his grace and you love the Lord, you can tell the difference between did I go to the left instead of right, and you can seek his face. So do you teach the youth? Since I'm on the show tonight, that's not Harry. He comes and we fill it all in. Do you teach the youth about praying with other people, like a prayer partner? I've always had a prayer partner all my entire, well, not since I was a little girl. When I came back to the Lord through the renewal, I always had a partner that I talked to every single day on the phone. And we also have a chain, like a 7-person or 5, where we tell our intentions on the internet. And really, it does give you such a comfort, especially if you have them in teams, this is your group, or no one leak what they're praying. And you feel like someone's praying, like right now, before I got on the show, I have 2 different prayer partners that are on internet. And there's like 5 girls and there's like 3. And I said, please, I'm going on the air. Please pray for me. Backing everything with prayer is important. But when you have somebody has your back, and some trials are so deep, especially as a teenager, so tough that you just really can't pray yourself sometimes. You have to have someone saying, no, don't you worry. You go rest, or you go to the doctor, whatever you need to do, and I will be praying for you. I do it for other people, and I just love it when they do it for me. So Katie and Alan, how about praying with a prayer partner?
So I have my K through 8 aftercare, and we have 3 different classrooms, K2, 3, 5, 6, 8. And I know at their middle school side that they learn how to pray with each other and how to lead through prayer. So that goes by super easy. I go, hey, can you lead prayer today? And they're like, sure. Or they volunteer. Oh, Abby wants to. Okay, thanks for volunteering, Abby. So you're going to, right? They'll do it together. But 3rd through 5th has been kind of cool, because our one of our other teachers kind of started leading this, and I support whoever goes in that room to do it, because they're our hardest bunch. We do intentions, and they're learning how to do it. Yeah, we're learning how to do intentions, and they'll go, okay, does anyone have any prayers? And one kid will raise their hand, for my puppy who just got shots, like vaccine shots. And they'll go, we pray to the Lord. Like, they're always looking at the adult, and I'm closing my eyes. I'm like, they've got it. I'm not worried about it. And then K through 2, where they're still learning how to get to the there's another person I have to care about. They're still learning that. That's developmental.
A lot of adults are still learning that.
There's someone in front of me. No, the practice of prayer. That's why we're doing that Advent devotional. They had to share a picture, because I didn't want to make so many color copies. They had to share a picture, and they're like, I see. Oh, is that an eagle? No, that's a vulture. Why is it a vulture? Like, they're vocalizing and they're talking about it, and they're like, I'm a sheep. No, you're a sheep. What? It's kind of cool to watch them have dialogue together. They're still learning how to just pray by themselves, let alone to pray with someone else. But they're gradually getting there.
And for the older kids, a lot of times we'll have we'll do like a youth group event where we'll have them pair off and pray with each other, and for each other. Then we'll also have like the core team of adults sitting around, at different tables around the room. And if they want to pray with a core team member, they come and pray with us, so they're learning to ask for prayers and to pray with instead of just for, because what a difference that makes, praying with somebody instead of saying, well, I'll pray for you. The next time somebody says, hey, can you pray for, my sister, my brother, my dog, they're sick or whatever, say, let's pray right now and pray with them right now. And that's what Jesus does. He doesn't walk past anybody and say, I'll pray for you. He addresses them individually with the human dignity that they need because they're in the image and likeness of God.
And they feel that sense of community. I have one kid who the puppy with the vaccines. He comes up to me. He's like, Miss French, my puppy's having vaccine shots. I'm really scared. I'm like, do you want me to pray for your puppy? Bella is the puppy's name. Yeah, I'm really worried. Bella, are we gonna pray for him now? Pray for her now? Okay. And he's praying with me. He's doing the whole thing. The next day he comes up. Oh my gosh, Miss French, Bella's totally fine. Oh my goodness. And he starts talking to me more about Bella. And I'm like, this is community. This is it right here. Because it's easy to go, I'm worried about something. I'll worry by myself. The other person won't care. But then to take that extra step of, will you pray for me? And I want to tell you more about it. Because then it draws our hearts closer and it always gets closer to Christ that way.
We learn so much from working with kids too, like the younger kids especially. I'm not around the younger ones as much as Katie is, but when you are, it's just so easy to see that they even if they're being ornery and like bratty at times, even when they still have good hearts, and you can still see that good heart. They haven't piled a bunch of stuff on top of it. Just like in Genesis, and the Lord's like, Adam, where are you? They're not there yet, like they're learning how to pray and how to love and how to care.
I had two kids today. They're playing chess together. First graders learning chess. I'll never understand, but they're actually really good at it. Kids can do hard things. But one of them's getting mad. My chess piece wasn't there. Yes, it was. My chess piece was there. I look over. I'm like, which square do you think it was on? And I walked them through how I figured out. Yeah, the bishop was there because it's only brown spaces that this bishop can go on. And the other kid's like, oh, I got all disheartened.
Did you ever see that? I'm sorry. It reminded me. Did you ever see that meme where there's a bishop standing in a church with a checkerboard floor and he says, unfortunately, I can only move diagonally? I love that. I'm sorry. It had nothing to do with what you were saying.
I have a better story about chess
I'm sorry.
I have better story about chess. You all remember. Because, I just wrote that book, Help I Want to Be a Godly Gal, and I got to my publisher and I got perfected, but I asked if y'all would endorse it because it's about virtues and it's for youth. And I really want to say in prayer at this, I wish y'all would write the manpower for the boys. This is Help I Want to Be a Godly Girl, like Help I Want to Be a Godly Guy, because it's all about virtue and it tells stories in my life, like things that had happened to me when I was a teenager, to say, and that when you're a teenager, you think joy is winning the head cheerleader, something like that. And then when you're older, you think joy is just having that healthy, happy baby born to you if you've been waiting a long time, and you change as you go along. But anyways, I think that it's very important, the character of the children, and to grow in that. But I think that it's important also for them to hear stories. I'm sure y'all tell stories. I'm sure you do tell the youth stories, and that's why I know it's going to be a really good book. So if you ever want to do it, you could do it. I publish this actually Covenant Books Inc. And I know yours is Sophie. I like her a lot too. So that's just a thought.
Ellen, we want what I was gonna, I'll email you about this, but like if you can give us some parameters on what you want from us, because we really appreciate all the work that you put in for ministry, and we want to help you however we can. So if you can just kind of give us the parameters of what you want us to write, not word for word, but here, just sign off. But
no, if you give us the parameters of what you want, wisdom. But I'm thinking this. I'll send you the book fully non-edited, and you can see from there if you want to do the same thing but with the men, because my publisher is very good and they're very good to me. So anyways, I just enjoy when you all come on. I try to ask questions about the youth because I'm hoping this will get to youth. I do send these tapes out to a lot of people, and I was blessed this week, and you can tell what your Chris is buzzing, that one priest that I really admire. He's a very good soul. We met in Charleston Diocese, and he said he's watching our podcast and he's really enjoying it. And it does mean a lot to me because we don't do this for us, we do this for you all that are listening. We do it for God. And I send to EWTN. I always pray that God will use some of the people have been on my show and then I've been on EWTN. And I want that to happen because that was Mother Angelical's big thing, is she wanted the word of the Lord to go forth. And she was the voice from the Lord in that day. When I think about our generation, how we have Pope John Paul, and we Pope John Paul, and we have the second, and we have Mother Teresa, and we have Mother Angelica. Now, Mother Angelica's not a saint yet, but I really do believe that we are blessed with some really godly examples, and you two will be that for these children. And I admire youth ministers. I told you at Meister I wanted to be a youth minister, and then the thing with the high heels, I wasn't called to, but I'm called to speak to youth. I really am called, and Pat is as well. Just because we raise so many children, it's like you go to the first grade desk and they go, what's 1 and 1? You already know it's 2, or once you raise kids, some of the stuff. And hey, so well studied, both y'all. But I was gonna say, to end on a funny note, while you're all thinking of your last, because you could wander while I'm talking, your last words. When I was dating Deacon Pat, he was gonna be a physician, right? And so we had dated a while, and he said he was gonna bring me a present, and so I'm thinking, we've been there a while, a diamond ring. That's what I think. I grew up thinking that. So these youth that are listening, be careful what you say. But I had said to Deacon Pat, Dr. Pat, whatever his name is, I call him Deacon Deer. I said to him, I play chess. I play chess.
Bill.
So he really believed that. I mean, I didn't say I was like Katie, that she knew where the bishop went. I played chess maybe once. And he comes up with this gift, and I was so excited. He's coming. My student's roommate was his cousin. Hey, he's bringing me a present. It was a chess set. My husband's called Pracho Pat. I laughed hard. So girls, don't keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your eyes on Jesus. The girls are listening, they're youth, and then ask him who he wants to marry. I did pray when I was a student. I prayed very hard for the Lord to pick my mate, and I know he did. We've been married 50 years this year. We're rejoicing, and the Christmas letter is about that, and also come back about how you say come back to me, and you'll see it's in the mail soon. So you two final words, Katie and Alan. It was a delightful show. What I like about being on the air with you and some of the other co-hosts is we don't know where it's going to go. So we have a thought. It's going to be about the books and the author and the speaking on it. And then we just let the Lord lead. And it really is a better way, because we were not planning on talking about confession, but look at Bunny and Bear. They knew we do this. Okay, so go, Bunny or Bear.
Take your lead, Ellen.
We never know where we're going. We're just happy we're still here.
We're sheep. We're being led by the Spirit of God and by the shepherd, and he provides all of our needs. And when we need rest, he says it's floor. There they are, Bunny and Bear, and falling forward with it. Any of you youth ministers out there at churches, please invite them. They're going to say how to get a hold of them. If they're your church, I wish one of my churches out here would do it. All right, go ahead, tell us what you want. Make the sum up of the show. They're going to go tell the world.
Adventure Catholic. Check us out on adventurecatholic.com. We just revamped our website. Let me know if any links aren't working. And if you find a link that isn't working, we'll send you a free Bunny and Bear book.
Okay. If it's not working, though, Alan, it's my own fault, because I don't know how to use it. I'm not computer savvy, but I'll try.
If it's not working on our end, like I don't have a computer. I don't have a computer. It didn't work at all.
Okay, so Katie, what do you want to sum up this show with?
Kids can do hard things, and kids are yearning for Christ, our Savior, and we got to give it to them.
That's right. That's right.
That's
and parents, what it's your time now. There's a very short time from the time they're little, and you carry them in your womb, and then you carry them in your heart. There's such a little short span. When you have that newborn baby, you think, well, I'll never get any sleep ever, but you do. And you'll think, these kids, I wish I'd heard them walk, and they do. And one day they walk right towards school, and then they grow up, and each grade they have, middle school, high school, and on, you want to rewind, push the button of rewind and say, I wish they were little again. I was carrying inside my womb, and now my heart. I wish I could repeat those years. Well, you can't. So now is the time to keep your eyes on Jesus and let him make memories with your children that he puts on your spirit, like make some cookies, maybe take them to the Advent wreath and start with the prayers and the devotions. Do something that will make them come alive in Christ, because our faith is when you pass on. It's not when you keep to yourself. And of course, we pray quietly, and then we go do what he tells us to do. Father Kirby said the word you all say, in word and deed. It's got to be action and prayer, word and deed. Effort makes it happen. And so thank you for being examples to us of so many things. These are our authors, youth ministers, and we're partly, all three of us are kind of part comedian at times. And to get past the show, I don't know if we could be as much, but I did enjoy the show. I do want to say I love y'all, and we'll come see you. We'll give you a call. We're out there. If we go to Orlando, we'll try to meet y'all or somewhere for dinner with your wife.
Call us.
And maybe that Japanese place at You ready?
we got all
Probably
kinds of
do. No, you won't go stuff. May God bless you all. Is Ellen Mongan closing off
Okay.
from Go Tell the World? Thank you, Katie and Alan with an M and French bonjour. Have a great day, and it's going to be off in 3, 2, 1.